sentence?
Well, it was a fair sentence. Certainly it's the lowest the judge could give Mr. Meloche. Given all the facts and the background and his background, it was the appropriate sentence.
How is your client doing?
He's tormented by this. The actions or his actions in November of 2011 will haunt him for the rest of his life. And as Justice Thomas commented, and the family commented, he has to live with that.
What is your prospect for rehabilitation for your client?
Phenomenal. I don't. If he can avail himself of university courses in prison, that's a gentleman that'll come out with a master's in something. He's a smart individual. He's kind. He's caring. This was an absolute anomaly in terms of how he otherwise conducted himself.
There was some talk there about how Mr. Smoke did not want his son being adopted by somebody who wasn't Aboriginal, and yet your client is Aboriginal. Am I confused by that, or is there some sort of...
Jesse's wife was not Aboriginal.
So that's where Mr. Smoke had an issue?
Yes, as I've been told.
And so when the judge had said they're cousins, is it just because they belong to the same clan, or...?
No, I didn't even realize this initially. Riley's mother is second cousins to Jesse Meloche. Yeah, you need a flow chart.
I mean, and so will he be heading back to Manitoba for some rehabilitation afterwards, or there was some talk of that as well?
No, that deals. They have an Aboriginal offenders program in which while you're in a prison setting, you participate in Aboriginal programs. There is a program, as I understand, in Ontario, but the pre-sentence report only listed 3, one of which was in Manitoba. And Jesse's preference is, if there's not any available in Ontario, he'd prefer to be in Manitoba so that he could be closer to his daughter.
The judge said.
Well, it was obviously a joint submission towards with the legal principles and the case law in these circumstances. All I'd like to say is my prayers go out for the deceased Lance Smoke's family and their attempts at coming to grips with their loss and their efforts going forward.
Scott, people are going to hear this, that a man stabbed another man 10 times and gets 10 years. How do you explain that?
I don't have any comment for that.
I mean, it was a joint submission, but were you seeking anything more than 10 years at this point?
Well, no, it was a joint submission.
How important was the guilty plea in this?
It's a significant guilty plea. It's obviously an acceptance of remorse, and that's all.
How was the Smoke family?
Well, obviously, it's understandable. They're struggling with the loss of a family member, their nation, as was described in the impact statements. It's a significant loss for their membership.
Now, when we say 10 years, that means parole eligibility. Explain that to us.
It's a life sentence, and the parole board can assess he's entitled to apply for parole after 10 years, and that's just the minimum eligibility. I just also like to say that the Windsor police did a really good job investigating these circumstances. That's all I have to say.
Okay.